So good afternoon once again and welcome to ATC 129 Post-Harvest Technology. So for your introduction, we're going to talk about the first topic, which is the post-harvest technology, the concept of post-harvest technology. So I hope to have an interaction with you later or along the way as we go on slide by slide. So you have heard a lot about post-harvest technology because you are already on your maybe on your second year now. How about you, Jason? Are you on your second year or first year?
I'm on my second year, ma'am.
Okay, so what can um what can you say about post-harvest technology? What is your idea?
Technology is used after harvesting.
Yes, exactly. Very good. So I hope everyone got that. So post-harvest technology, as what Jason told us, is um, it's the technology that we do after harvest. So that's why post. So there are terminologies that means that will also be clarified here. One is the post-production. It's also the same term, but it's a general term for handling of crops. And this is used for food, for seed, fiber, botanical pesticide, and definitely it's from harvest up to the time they reach the final consumer. Or post-production can also be primary or secondary. So what is this primary or secondary? So primary processing, what do you think, Jerris? Why is it called primary? Jerris, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Why do you think? Why do you think it's primary processing? Because for you, what do you think it's primary?
Mm.
Yes,
Um,
Jerris.
wait lang, ma'am.
Can you see the screen? So I can help you, Jerris. With primary processing, it's the handling of crops to make them more suitable to the manufacturers, processors, and consumers. So after harvest, the one definitely that you do after exactly harvest is what we called as primary processing. But then, although it's already processed, but believe me, it still can be changed into other forms. So in this, that's why we have the secondary processing. So for the primary processing, the original plant part can still be recognized. So for example, the food crop handling could also be classified whether perishables, durables, or plantation crops. But for the perishables, Albert, I mean, this is still under primary processing. So when we say perishables, what are these, Albert?
Perishable, ma'am. Murag,
Yes. Perishable. From the root word perish. Mura lang siya ghosting, no? Yung mura lang
ma'am.
nag-uyab-uyab, murag nag-uyab-uyab ta ba, tapos nag-ghosting ka. So nag-perish agad. Di ba, Albert?
Ma'am.
So perishables are fruits, perishables in post-harvest, not on the ghosting na ha. Perishables in fruits, vegetable, florist crop, florist greens, and yan, coconut and herbs are example of perishable crops. That means
wala pa.
na dali ra sila
Malata, ma'am.
malata or madaot. And there are also slightly perishable vegetables are considered for root and bulb crops. They're considered slightly perishable. And another example are fresh medicinal crops, the nursery stocks like the cuttings, bud sticks, and uprooted seedlings. These are also considered perishable. And there are also durables. Yes, Jmar.
Ma'am.
What do you think is durable? In
Kanang kuan, ma'am. Kaya niya mag-long last og up to months or days. Parehas na ng rice, mais, mga inana niya, ma'am, mga grains, ma'am.
So very good. It means durable yun siya, no? It can last longer. So you already explained it well. So on the slide that you have seen, these are food crops which can be maintained as food over a long period of time or relative to the perishables, like grains, legumes, peanuts. So under primary, we're still under primary processing. Example of the non-food plantation crops could be oil, fiber, beverage, spices, condiments, flavor enhancing, perfume, and other essences, latex, resin, medicinal, and botanical pesticide crops are under non-food plantation crops, which are under primary processing. And also seed processing and storage, which are stored for sale and for planting, are under primary processing. So raw material handling of these fruits and vegetables are intended for food processing. Florist scrap also are for making dried art form. So this is still under primary processing. We also have minimal processing, refers to the peeled, sliced, cut, and packaged fruits and vegetables in a form ready to cook or eat uncooked or fresh cuts or convenient food. So this is what you can see on the grocery store, right? On like sa Abriza, 'di ba, na ay mga nakakat na diha ng mga packaged fruits and vegetables. Have you tried that one? If not, laag sa mo doon ra ba mo diri sa sa city? Or
Layo,
na?
ma'am.
Ay layo
Layo, ma'am. Layo.
Mas layo jud ko, wala na makapildi sa ko, taga-tagom gud ko.
Wala dyan, ma'am. Wala dyan.
So anyway, moving on to secondary processing. This is now relative to primary. So opposite ng primary is the secondary processing. Well, of course, secondary siya kasi niagi na siya og primary processing.
Right.
So this involves conversion of harvested crops into stable products that can no longer be changed in other forms. In other words, diba we have examples already that even these cut foods and fresh cuts are, for example, these are still under primary processing, although we cut them into pieces ready to eat and ready to cook, but still they are under primary. And when time comes that it goes full processing, or what we call food processing, this is secondary processing already. So other industrial processing, medicinal products, and dried plant arts are examples of secondary processing. So sometimes, like the dried plant arts can also be primary or secondary processing depending on the kind of procedure. So the post-harvest handling of perishable and durable crops. So this, when we say durable crops, how does it handled? No? So not more than 5 major crops. So meaning the crops that belong to the durable crops, like as we mentioned earlier, the different root crops are just very few. They don't even belong, not more than 5, no? It has a moisture content of 14%. So, like for example, the seeds, when the seeds are dried, how many percentage of moisture content does it has? Is it 14, above or low? Jmar.
Below, ma'am. I think.
Yes.
Below, I think, ma'am.
Yes, very good.
Below
And
siguro, ma'am.
it's even 10%, no? And it can last for a year or even like 5 to 10 years when these are properly preserved. And a year under ordinary conditions. So this involves threshing, drying, fumigation, and controlled atmosphere storage or CA storage, and grading, and also mainly for local market only. Mainly, but nowadays that we are now on the international trade, there's and also on online selling already, there's a big potential already for durable crops for international market. Now next is the perishable crops. As mentioned before, it's just belong to not less than 10 fruits, no? So medyo not more than 10 lang ang population ng mga perishable crops, not more than 20 vegetables, and 9 cut flowers, and 5 cut foliage, and 3 perishable staples. So it just means that these are just few. I mean, not less than, meaning more than pala, 10 fruits, more than 20. So maraming perishable compared sa durable. So, and they also have high moisture content, 75 to 95%, and will last in no more than a week. So, hanggang 1 week lang talaga pag under siya perishable. So, madaming fruits, ano, more than 10 fruits, more than 20 vegetables we have, and so on. And root and bulb crops can last for several weeks or months as an exemption. Some root and bulb crops like the onion and the garlic, so they still belong to perishable, but for bulb crops. And for perishable crops, they are being trimmed. These are post-harvest practices that we will also be discussing in detail on the next topics. So this involves trimming, cleaning, curing, waxing, and grading. If you're not familiar with these words, this will be discussed further. Control of ripening, degreening, ethylene treatment, pre-cooling, refrigerated storage, and transport. So these are all under perishable crops. So hot water treatment, vapor heat treatment, packaging, conditioning, sleeving, pulsing, control and modified atmosphere storage are some also of the different activities that you're going to do in perishable crops. And these are usually used for domestic but also for export markets, for processing plants, and for food service establishments. So as you notice, most fruits and vegetables and even ornamentals and flowers are perishables. Then post-harvest handling of perishable crops, we have to discuss about the physiology behind these perishable crops. Why are they perishable? Nganong madali lang silang madaot. So crops, because these are crops with actively respiring cells, like any organism, no? Like human beings, we have very active cells na nagasingot. So they also have respiration rate. So maintain fresh state, safety, and trade requirements, because they have quarantine treatments also. So basig maano na mo sa quarantine nga word, no? Na term, maano na mo, ma-wordla na mo sa quarantine nga term, but it is also being used in plants because it's generally used for plants talaga yung quarantine, especially when you protect the plants from like what we call now pandemic, or from pests and diseases. Then quick freezing is another post-harvest handling of perishable crops. It's just you have not maybe understood well what is quick freezing, but you just have to freeze this product in a high temperature, low temperature, that's negative 0 degrees Celsius, and so negative 10 for examples. And also in a very short time. That's why it's quick. And the steps done after harvest for marketing, consumption, or food processing. For food processing of durable crops, these are non-living. They have non-living cells mostly. That's why they don't have active cells that are under respiration rate. And this can be transformed into stable preserved product that can usually be no longer converted into another form. So pwede mo pa i-dry yan, or you continued freezing to make it fresh-like. And it is done after post-harvest handling. So why do we need to study post-harvest handling of plants? Albert?
Ma'am,
Why do we need to study post-harvest handling?
ma'am, para proper imong pag-harvest o kanang walay mga damage, ma'am, para hindi siya uban. Makuha siya sa mga mamalit.
Yes. No, to meet the quality that the consumer are expecting, or also that is for consumers preferable acceptance. So first and foremost, we need post-harvest handling for food security. No, because there's a lot. On the next slides, you will see how much losses have we got from wrong post-harvest handling. So there is a lot of food losses, but then a lot hunger is still evident even here in the Philippines. So with food security, we need post-harvest handling. So because another point is also increasing urbanization and industrialization. Like most of these agricultural lands are being converted into industrialized buildings and plantations. And most of the, you notice there's a lot of housing development already. And that's and more places are being urbanized already, or like city like. And there is also huge opportunities and tough competition in exporting fresh produce on the General Agreement on Trades and Tariff, that's GATT. So that means international trade. So there's huge potential. And the growing attention to quality, especially now that people are becoming aware of health and safety. And the changing taste and lifestyle. More products are coming, more processed products are coming, and we don't know that the safety of that product, So we just eat, and sometimes we were shocked that we have rice that are made of plastics and vegetables that are made of plastics already, right? Have you seen that one on news feeds? So you just if you want to interact or ask question as we go along the way, or you have something to say, you just turn on your microphone and you just ask question, okay? So another thing is the growing concerns about food safety. Now, because of food poisoning. If you have heard from the previous years, maybe you're still young at then, mga 5 to 10 years. There have been massive problems about food poisoning, especially on cassava. Have you remembered or heard all those news?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, because of food poisoning and the heightened health consciousness. More of us are getting conscious now of our health, and marami na tayong diabetic. We have a lot of hypertension, high blood. So we need to choose the right kind of foods. And fluctuating supply and prices over time. So the law of supply and demand, right? So some fruits now, like right now, it's August and it's season for like fruits like rambutan. What else? Durian and
Lansones.
bonus. So the price is it high or low?
So, ma'am.
It's low.
Low
And
jud ron, ma'am.
sad for the farmers and happy for the consumer. So that's how the law of supply and demands, and that's how market rules us, no? So there are a lot of huge losses actually. That's why we need post-harvest handling, correct post-harvest handles. So the post-harvest losses are quantified in terms of loss via quantitative or qualitative. So it's not only quantity. So when we say quantitative, decline in the availability, meaning it's run out, utility, and saleable weight. Like halimbawa, along weight loss, that's quantitative. So what
Yes,
do you
ma'am.
think are the product now that are so high or in demand but in low supply? Ano ang mga product ngayon na mahal masyado in the market?
Sa kuha, ma'am, karne. Ayan na.
Karne, ingon nila barato daw ang karne karon.
Dari sa mua, ma'am.
Mahal. Okay, so mahal
Isa ka jud siya.
it's just the distribution maybe. So
Yes,
anyway,
ma'am.
so let's say mahal ang karne, no, kasi low ang supply. So and also you notice na mahal karon ang banana.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that's quantitative loss. And when I say qualitative loss, decline in acceptability or change,
Quality.
yes, on quality and change in chemical constituents, appearance, or nutritive value. Like kanang, di ba, manghagal na lang if it's like, kung hapit na madaot ato ang mga fruits, then we can reduce the price to sell it. That's qualitative loss. Or ipanghatag na lang jud, no? If you remember the time like ang kilo sa or ang 1 piece ng squash or kanang squash,
Kalabasa.
sorry. Ang kalabasa kay tagpiso na lang. Have you heard of that last time? So,
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Nakabalita
So, how much is the losses actually if we quantify them? So there is a report by Agravante and others in 2003, like for Saba banana, it will cost to about 32,000. So malaki na rin yan, di ba? Banana mixed load 15,000, strawberry 12,000, papaya 54,000, seed potatoes 1 million, and onion 89 million. Ganon kadaki ang post-harvest losses. And for fruits and vegetable losses by country, so Vietnam 20 to 40% ang post-harvest losses nila, as well as Malaysia. For Thailand, medyo 14 to 35% malaki, and Philippines 28 to 42, while Indonesia 15 to 40. This is by Bautista 2002. So maganyan, no, more than at almost 50% ng ang loss niya. So, malaki talaga. And what are the causes of loss? What do you think is the causes of loss?
Post-harvest, ma'am.
Yes. In post-harvest, sa pag-harvest pa lang, field packing, hauling. So this loss is due to disease and cuts. And
Yes.
during transportation, loading, stacking, and unloading, the loss are due to compression, vibration, abrasion, especially kung iitsa-itsa lang nimo, right? And in the packing house operation, dumping, washing, sorting, and fungicidal treatment, air drying, and packing, this can also be, there's also losses from mechanical damage. And
Exactly.
also during storage, transport, and marketing. And these losses are due to disease,